Hey crafters! So today's might be a little bit different from some of my other videos. Well, actually you might not notice at all, which if you don't notice, that's awesome. So two things. One, my dad is out of town, which means his camera is out of town also. So this might not be as good of video quality because I'm filming on my iPad. So we're gonna see how this goes and hopefully it doesn't fall over in the middle of filming. And the number two thing is I have a cold. You might, hear the congestion. So I may have to chop the video up a bunch because I might suddenly start sneezing or need to blow my nose, and that's kind of gross and y'all don't want to see that. So there's tissues everywhere. It's great. But anyways, what we're going to do today is we're going to, out of a cardboard box like this, with Home Depot, we are going to make a barrel. And you might be going, okay, why do I need to make a barrel from a cardboard box? But this is for the VBS at my church. So I thought I'd pass this cool idea along, and I'll give you a look at the finished product. Okay, so now that you know what it looks like, you could probably have a better idea of what I mean by we're making a barrel out of a cardboard box. So just a simple decoration. Great for a VBS thing, great for a party. And the best part is it's super cheap. The hardest part with this project is it takes some time. I can't remember if the Home Depot box, that we had to buy it from them, or if it was just they were getting rid of boxes and we were like, hey, can we have it? Because we needed it for something else, but I can't remember. But overall, the project is pretty cheap because most of the things you'll need, like tape and scissors or a razor blade, you'll probably already have on hand. You should probably already have pencils. So the only thing you'll need to get is a box. So let's go through materials. Right here, the box I'm going to be using today. This is from Home Depot. This is 3 cubic feet. So you're going to need a box like this. You might want scissors and or a razor blade like this guy. And if you're using the razor blade, or even if you're using the scissors, please be careful. And if you're a little kid, I guess if you're any age kid, under 18, get an adult's help so you don't slice any appendages off, because that would not be good. So you're going to need that. You're also going to want a pencil. I've got this fun mechanical pencil here from Thailand. A ruler or some kind of straight edge. You will need a ruler to actually measure along some parts of the edge. On top of that, you're going to want some kind of straight edge. So if you use a ruler, then you've got both of those together. And that's really all you need. And this project, I would guesstimate it takes about probably 30 minutes. It also can go faster if you have someone helping you, because then you can kind of tag team and each person do one part. And it's definitely not hard. It does take a little bit of time, but you can definitely do this, and it's got a really cool finished project. So let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is inside out this box, because obviously you don't want a nice barrel that's going to have a rustic or Old West kind of feel to it that says medium and the dimensions and stuff, because that'd just be a little weird, fragile, why? That would just be weird to have that on the side of a barrel. So to inside out the box, obviously you can't just reach through here and yank it inside out like you can with a shirt. So instead we're going to find the seam, which on this box is right here, and you're going to want to either peel this apart and peel it open, which is what I'm going to try to do at first, but it might not peel easily, and if it doesn't, then you can just slice it, and we'll talk more about what you can do when we get to the assembly part. So first, there we go, that went pretty good. This is going to be the outside of our barrel. So if your box is not the same dimensions as this one, you're going to have a little bit more trouble, but it's not the end of the world because the same idea applies. Because of the dimensions of this box, I'm choosing to do 3-inch slats, but if your box has different dimensions, then you can try doing 3-inch slats, or you can just kind of play around and see what makes sense for your box. I chose to do 3-inch slats because this distance here between these edges that are already grooved is about 18 inches, so 3 just divides it nicely into 6 spots. But if yours is, say, 16 inches, then maybe try doing 4 4-inch grooves just to kind of keep it in line and make your life a little easier. So to start, I'm going to just use the ruler here, 1 inches, and I'm going to mark every 3 inches on this box. now here we are. I've got my box all marked up, and now what I need to do next is I need to draw a straight line so I can see when I use my razor blade to cut the grooves so that it'll fold. I'm going to draw a straight line to have a nice even track. So let me get my straight edge. So here I am with my straight edge. I didn't feel like going outside to the workshop barn to get an actual straight edge. So I'm just using this poster board that's left over from another project. But when you draw the edges, they don't have to be lined up perfectly. That's the nice thing about this project is there's a little bit of room for error, but the more precise you are, the better the finished product will be. So I would just still take your time and not just do a sloppy job or anything. But when we trace this line, we for sure want it to come from each of these here. But later on in the project, we are going to need those lines to come all the way to the edge. So you can go ahead and while you're at it, you can go ahead and line it up from one end and draw all the way to the edge and then do the other side too. Or you can go ahead and do that part later when you get to it. I'm going to kind of work along both sides. I'll do that side, draw the edges. I'll come back and do those later. But for now, I'm just going to come all the way to the very edge on this side. Okay, here I am arriving at my last one. And what I should have mentioned earlier, but I'll go ahead and mention it now, is you want to make sure you draw these lines dark enough. When I was working on the box earlier, there were a couple I didn't draw in super darkly, so I was kind of looking like the light was glaring off them weird. So it made it a little more challenging. So here we are. I have lines drawn all the way up this side, and when I get to do this part, I will go ahead and draw the lines all the way to the end. But for now, you can see you've got the nice groove in the middle, and then this is already out of the way. So what we are going to do is you want to take your razor blade, be very careful, do not cut yourself, okay? And the idea is we're going to slice along this middle section just from here to here. We're not going to slice these parts yet. We're going to just come along here, and if you just do one single slice, basically what it'll do, because the cardboard is thick enough, it'll just slice through the one side, but it'll still be attached on the back. And so what'll happen is it'll allow the front to kind of bend while still staying connected and not tearing through entirely. So that's what we're going to work on next. And please be careful with the blade. So you just want to put it in here, gently slice along the line. And these you want to keep as straight as you can. And then just go along and do each line. And there we go. I've sliced the groove on the last one. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll just do a slice just to demonstrate this. I'm going to finish the slice all the way to the edge on both sides for this one. But I'll show you what it's going to do, which you won't do this part that I'm doing right now. You just slice in the middle. I'm just slicing this here so I can demonstrate the way this will work. So, because we have a slice on this side, but on the back you can see we haven't actually gone through. But we have sliced on this side. What I can do is I can carefully kind of pop this along here. Trying to tape that part there. But you can see I can now bend this part back. So what we need to do next is we need to measure how far apart, because we're going to cut out triangles out of these parts, so that way we can bend it in to create the curve of the barrel. So we need to measure out how far we need each of these to be. So I've already got my lines coming all the way to the edge from earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure 1/4 inch on either side. So in all, it'll just be a 1/2 inch that gets cut out. So let's say I line up the 4-inch mark, so I'm going to mark 1/4 inch this way and 1/4 inch that way. Come here, 1/4 inch here and 1/4 inch there. And as always, these don't have to be exactly perfect. So here we are. It's kind of hard to see, but I've got all my marks here. You may want to do them a little closer to the edge. I just did them a little further because I'm kind of eyeballing it. It's kind of rough, measurements and stuff, but I'm gonna now be cutting. So I've got an extra piece of cardboard to put underneath here, so that way I don't mess up the floor, and I'm going to use the razor. Now the way I found is most effective to cut, when you cut these you want to get nice clean edges, but that's not always possible. So what I found is the best way is if I line it up here,
and then with the mark down at the bottom. And then I'm going to do a light, steady cut along here with the razor. And now notice that it's kind of in there, and because I had a cut already there, it's a little goofy. But then for this I'm going to do the same thing, except instead of starting up here, I'm going to start partway up here and slice like that. So let me show you with another one. Line up at the bottom and at the top. And I use this metal ruler because it helps keep my line smoother, and it also helps keep my fingers safe. So I just slice along there all the way from tip to the end. But then on this side, I'm only going to start cutting about here. I'm not going to go as far to the tip because it's so, unless your razor's like really, really sharp, it's going to be hard to actually get it to insert instead of just shredding it. So let me finish up that the whole way down, and then I'll show you how we finish cutting those out. So you can see I've got a couple of these cut out because what will happen is we'll bend the barrel, and then these will fold in where we've cut out that triangle, and so you can kind of see it'll help create that barrel shape like I showed you with the finished one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the best way to cut this out. You can see how these are pretty smooth. So it works best is we already went ahead and we sliced this side completely, and we did a little bit of slicing on this side. So you may want to slice a little bit more, just so that way everything's loosened up really well. And then just come along with the scissors to cut through. And it works pretty good if you've already sliced partway through with the razor blade. It makes it a lot easier to cut with the scissors. So let me finish cutting this. So as you can see, then we just kind of trim it up and get the last little bits out. You're gonna end up with lots of cardboard smoothies, but then you can kind of see how we're getting these triangles cut out, and then we'll be able to start creasing it along, going down, and help form our barrel shape. So here you can see I've got our barrel all cut out, and we've got all these little flaps here. And what needs to happen next, you can kind of pop it, remember where we cut those screens earlier, and you're gonna spin it around into a circle. And like on our completed barrel, what we want to do is we want to do a line of tape here, a line of tape there, and then once we do those two, we'll lean this in and we'll put tape in here. But this is a lot easier if you have two people helping you. So I have my sister Emily helping me. So just kind of punch all these out, kind of get it roughly in a circle. And also because I left this tab on here, that's going to make it a little easier. So we're going to start by taping there. Yeah, we're going to start by taping on the inside. So that way our barrel doesn't come apart while we're trying to do the really nice looking tape on the outside. What we'll do next is a thing of tape going around here. So it works best if you pull out a bunch of slack. Also, that's good to start with. We don't want it too long. And I'm going to start right here at the seam, just because I think it's better to have all our seams there. Obviously, the more you tape, the better it will look. And then just go around and smooth out the tape, and then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. So what you can see here is we've got the two pieces of tape going around, and we've already taped up one side. So hopefully you can kind of see how it's starting to create that barrel shape that we're going for. The basic idea is we're going to put duct tape around at the top here. But if we were to do that first, that would be really hard to do the duct tape one by one and go around. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to use this masking tape. I always get masking tape and packing tape mixed up. We're going to use this masking tape, and we're just going to go around quickly on the inside. It's going to be a little sloppy, but this will hold into place so that when we do the tape that's going to be seen on the outside, we can actually make it look nice. So we finished taping it on the inside. This is just to get it all together while we go around. The same method we're going to use, she was really overzealous on the amount of tape we would need last time, so it's really long, but you probably do want to pull it out long before you start taping, just so it's not, applying a bunch of pressure to the barrel. So when we do the tape, we're going to leave it kind of hanging over the top a little bit. You kind of see right here how the tape goes above the top, and because of the shape, how it's caving in, it's not going to be anywhere neat. Well, actually, that's a little messy there. It won't be anywhere near as smooth as like this here, just because of the shape. So that's okay. Just go have fun with it and do your best, and it'll still look really awesome even if it doesn't turn out perfect.
Haha, I was not overzealous.
Ooh, it's like perfect. But I'm better at cutting the tape than you are. See, good cut. Yours didn't cut at least. Otherwise, that'd be silly. So now that I've got the tape on here, really easy, just push it over and fold it over the side, go all the way around, push it on there nice and tight so it doesn't pop off. And there you have it. You have a nice cardboard and duct tape barrel. And this is great for like a VBS, for a birthday party, whatever you need. You can make a lid for the barrel. Just cut a quick circle. You can decorate it by drawing, wood grain on here. And if you want, you can add the wood grain to your barrel here also. And then you leave 4 tabs, so that way you can kind of set the tabs inside of the barrel, and then the lid won't fall down. Which, this is a leftover lid from a few years back from a different barrel, so I don't know that will be the right size. But hey, that'll work. And there you go. You've got your barrel made.